Good morning, all. Can you hear me? Somebody please respond. My voice is audible?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Somebody put a message. Am I audible? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yes, right. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Right. Okay, so yesterday, let me show you. Yesterday, one question I have kept in a group. Okay, so this question I have kept in the group yesterday, and I told you to solve question number 7B and send me the answer. Okay, but interestingly, many of you have solved this question and I got lots of response. Many of you sent this question. Okay, so I am very happy that you are practicing all this question at home and you are sending the answers also. This question number 7B, 2018 question number 7B. This question I have gave yesterday to solve at home. Okay, 5 marks question it was, and after solving I told to send me the answers. Out of 78 students, 77 or 78, out of 78 students, only one student sent me the answer. Only one. Roll number 313, I think. Sudhir Kumar, roll number 313. Yes, right. Only one answer I got, 313. Okay. So if you will do it, it will be your benefit. If you will not do it, it will be your loss. I have nothing to do with it. Okay. So I am here to teach you. I am here to guide you. It is up to you whether you are listening or not. I am doing my job by teaching you. I am getting my salary by teaching you. Your father, your parents are doing their job by paying money for you. Okay, everybody is doing their respective jobs. But what are you doing? Are you doing your job correctly? Okay, so think about it. There are lots of excuses. I am not going to ask anybody because I know you can give lots of excuses. Sir, my health was not good. Sir, I was in village. I have network issue. I have current issue. I have COVID issue. Like lots of excuse you will give, but hardly it will take 5 to 10 minutes to solve this question. Hardly 10 minutes it will take. Exactly one similar question we have done in the class. And to solve this question, hardly 10 minutes it will take. But you are so busy there. I think you are busy than the Prime Minister of the country. You are so busy that you do not have 10 minutes also to spend for this question. Or I don't know whether you are finding it irrelevant. Okay, your exam will be on July last. Hardly 1.5 months is there. 1 month or 1.5 months is there. Either it will be on July last or August 1st. I'm talking about your final external exam. It will be offline. It is not online. It will be offline. You have to choose the college. You have to go to the college and you have to write the offline paper. mostly on July last or on August 1st, you will be having the final semester exam. Okay. And if you are not serious, nobody can help you. If you cannot help yourself, nobody in this world can help you. Each and everyone are doing their job in this pandemic. As a faculty, we are doing our job. As a parents, your father and your mothers are also doing their job. Okay. But I don't know what you are and what you are doing at home, that you do not have 10 minutes also to solve this question. Anyway, I have nothing to do with it. My job is to teach you and to get the salary. Whether you study or not, nothing is going to happen. Okay, you are the only person who is going to suffer if you will not listen to the faculty, believe me. And nowadays, the mechanical branch, you know, the job security for mechanical branch is very pathetic during this pandemic. Okay, so you have to perform some exceptionally well to get a good job. Okay, and if you are thinking that casually you will go some 1-2 paper backlogs, you will put casually you will get the degree, believe me, nobody is going to give you the job. Okay, if you will just clear the exam. Anyway, I am not the person to discuss all these things. So what we are going to do now is we will solve this question and we will close it. Okay, so this was the question that I am talking about. This question I have put in the group yesterday. Okay, only 313. I think he has solved this question. Nobody else has done it. So once we will discuss it quickly, then we will switch over to our next topic. So what I will do, I will put his solution over here.
Sir, offline classes started there, sir.
Offline classes mostly by next month it will start. From July 1st, mostly they are planning to do the offline class. Okay, it is not guaranteed. You will get the notification before 4-5 days. But mostly from July 1st, they are planning to start the offline classes. Okay, so we start it now. So in this question, a gasoline engine, sorry. Okay, a gasoline engine working on 4-stroke develops a brake power of 20.9 kilowatt. So brake power directly it is given. Quickly I will solve this question because yesterday exactly similar type of question we have solved. Okay, and just because they have asked this question in the previous year paper, so that's why I have given you this question to do it at your home. But since I didn't got enough responses from your side, so I have to do it. So brake power of the engine is given 20.9 kilowatts. So brake power, this is total brake power. This is equal to 20.9 kilowatt. A Morse test was conducted on this engine and the brake power obtained when each cylinder was made inoperative by short circuiting the spark plugs are 14.9, 14.3, 14.8 and 14.5 respectively. What it is telling, so a Morse test it was conducted, and when it is conducting the Morse test, some brake power value it is obtaining. And what are the brake power it is obtaining? By short circuiting. Short circuiting means cut off. Okay, by short circuiting the cylinder, these are the brake power we are operating. So 14.9 is brake power 1 when we are short circuiting the first cylinder. So BP1 equal to 14.9 kilowatt. Then BP2 is 14.3 kilowatt. Okay, then for third engine BP3 is 14.8 kilowatt. And for fourth engine, BP4 is 14.5 kilowatt. Okay, the test was conducted at constant speed. Find the indicator power. Okay, so we have to calculate indicated power. This is one point we have to calculate. Next, mechanical efficiency. Okay, mechanical efficiency we have to calculate in the second part. And third one is brake mean effective pressure. BMEP, brake mean effective pressure. These three things we have to calculate when all the cylinders are firing. The bore of the engine is 75 millimeter. Bore means it is diameter. Okay. So diameter of the engine, that is small d, this is equal to 75 millimeter, and we have to convert this into meter. So we have to divide it 1000. So if you will divide 1000, you will get 0.075 meter, and the stroke length is 90 mm. So stroke length, that is small l, is equal to 90 mm or 0.09 meter. You divide it by 1000, you will get in meter. And the engine is running at 3000 RPM. So speed of the engine, that is capital N, equal to 3000 RPM. Okay, so this many things are given in the question, and what you have to calculate, you have to calculate indicated power, you have to calculate mechanical efficiency, and you have to calculate brake mean effective pressure. Okay, so how to calculate total indicated power? So total indicated power IP equal to sum of the individual indicated power, IP1 plus IP2 plus IP3 plus IP4. Okay, so this is the formula to calculate total indicated power. So for this thing, we have to calculate IP1, IP2, IP3, and IP4. Okay, and what is the formula to calculate IP1, IP2 values? Okay, so to calculate this value, so IP1 becomes total brake power BP minus BP1. So already yesterday we have done this one. Okay, so IP1 means indicated power of engine 1 equal to BP means total brake power minus brake power when the cylinder 1 is cut off. So which is equal to, what is BP? BP we have 20.9 and BP1 is 14.9. Okay, so BP is 20.9 minus BP1 is 14.9. So 20 minus 14.9 we will get 6 kilowatt. Okay, similarly we will calculate IP2. So quickly I am doing it. So BP minus BP2. So BP we have 20.9 minus BP2 how much? BP2 is 14.3. BP2 we have 14.3. So if we solve this, we will get 6.6 kilowatts. Next, IP3. If some mistakes I will do, then inform me. IP3 is BP minus BP3, which is equal to BP is 20.9 minus what is BP3? BP3 we have 14.8. BP3 is 14.8. Okay, so if we will solve this one, how much we will get? I think it is 6.1 kilowatt. And it is just 6.1 kilowatt, right? Now next one is IP4. This is equal to BP minus BP4. So BP is 20.9 minus BP4 is how much? BP4 is 14.5. BP4 is 14.5. So 20.9 minus 14.5, we will get 6.954, 6.4 kilowatt. Okay. So IP1, IP2, IP3, IP4, everything we have calculated. So what is the first point? We have to calculate indicated power. So just add all these things. Okay. So total indicated power. So total indicated power. Total indicated power. First point, we have to calculate total indicated power. Okay, so total indicated power IP equal to IP1 plus IP2 plus IP3 plus IP4. Now, if you substitute the values over here, so IP will get IP1 is 6 plus IP2 is 6.6 plus IP3 is 6.1 plus IP4 is 6.4. So if we will solve all these things, so 624, 627 plus 111, 25.1, 25.1 kilowatt we will get. I think it is correct. Let me check the answer. Yes, 25.1 kilowatt. Okay, this is the total indicated power we have calculated. Now next one is we have to calculate the mechanical efficiency. How to calculate mechanical efficiency? Second point, we have to calculate mechanical efficiency. Mechanical efficiency. Okay, it is represented as eta mech. So how to calculate? What is the formula to calculate mechanical efficiency? Mechanical efficiency formula is brake power divided by indicated power into 100. Okay, this brake power means it is the total brake power. This indicated power means it is total indicated power. Yes, correct. 321, right? Okay. So total, what is the total brake power? So total brake power is 20.9. 20.9 whole divided by total indicated power is, sorry, total indicated power we have got 25.1. 25.1 into 100. We'll solve this. Yes, 83.266 we will get. If we, when we'll solve this, we will get 83.266%. Okay. Yes, 83.266, correct. Okay, so this is mechanical efficiency. What is the last term? Last one is we have to calculate brake mean effective pressure. Okay, so at the last point, we have to calculate brake mean effective pressure. Okay, so to calculate brake mean effective pressure, we have to apply the formula brake power equal to small n into pressure into L into A into N whole divided by 60,000. This formula you have to apply. Okay, always you remember whenever they are asking you to calculate this brake mean effective pressure, this formula you have to apply. If they will ask brake mean effective pressure, you have to write here brake power. If they will ask you to calculate indicated mean effective pressure, then here you have to write indicated power. The formula remains same. When this is brake power, this is brake mean effective pressure. If you will write here indicated power, then here we will get indicated mean effective pressure. The remaining formulas will remain exactly same. Okay, so that implies what is brake power? Total brake power. Total brake power is 20.9. Total brake power we have got 20.9 is equal to how many cylinders are there? How many number of cylinders? So nothing is mentioned here. So number of cylinder is 1 into brake mean effective pressure into what is the stroke length? Stroke length is 90 mm or 0.09 meter. So stroke length we will put 0.09 meter into what is area? Area we have to calculate. Okay, so area we have to calculate. Area equal to pi by 4 d square. Okay, so this is equal to pi by 4 into what is small d? Small d diameter is 75 mm or 0.075. Okay, so you will put here 0.075 square. Okay, now if you will solve this area, we will get 0.00. Somebody said the answer 0. Right, 4.41 into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, correct. Zero point 441 meter square. Okay, so we'll put here in place of this area, we'll write 0.00441 into this capital N. Since it is a 4-stroke engine, you have to see. Okay, since it is a 4-stroke engine, you can see here. Okay, so this is a 4-stroke engine. So for 4-stroke engine, this capital N is nothing but N by 2, which is equal to what is the N value? N value was 3000. So it will be 3000 divided by 2, that is equal to 1500. Okay, so N value is 1500.
Sir, the IPIC indicator power ఒకదానికే తీసుకుంటారు అనుకుంటా సార్. బ్రేక్ పవర్ కి కూడా n/2 తీసుకుంటారా?
This speed, once
Yes,
again,
speed sir. Indicator power కే 4 stroke దానికి n/2 తీసుకుంటారు కదా.
Whether it is indicated power or brake power, if you are applying this formula, okay, if you are applying this formula, then this in place of this N value, you have to write n/2 if it is a 4-stroke engine. Actually, for this brake power, you have two formula. Either you can calculate brake power equal to 2 pi nt divided by 60,000. Okay, so this is in this way directly you can calculate brake power. Here no need to put n/2 in place of n. Directly n value you have to put here. To calculate brake mean effective pressure, this is the formula: small n into BMEP into small l into A into n whole divided by 60,000. When this pressure terms will come, in that case, in place of n, you have to put n/2 for a 4-stroke engine. Similarly, when you are calculating indicated power, what is the formula? N into indicated mean effective pressure into L into A into N divided by 60,000. In that case also, in place of N, you have to put N by 2 if it is a 4-stroke engine. Okay. So you remember, whenever you are applying this pressure formula, whenever you have to calculate this pressure values, in that case only, in place of N, you have to put N by 2 if it is a 4-stroke engine. If it is a 2-stroke engine, N will remain same. Except this formula, everywhere else, that N value, same N value you have to keep. Suppose you are calculating brake power by using this formula. Then here, in place of N, no need to put N by 2. Okay. But once you are applying these two formula, only for these two formula, okay, where you have to calculate the pressure, either brake mean effective pressure or indicated mean effective pressure, in that case only, in place of N, you have to put N by 2. Okay, so that's why lots of problem I am doing, so that you will not get confused in the exam. Keep this in mind. Okay, only during the calculation, only when you are applying these two formula, where you have to calculate the brake mean effective pressure value. In this here only, in place of N, you have to write N by 2 for 4-stroke engine. And if it is a 2-stroke engine, this N value remains same N only. Except these two formula, everywhere else that same N value you have to write. No need to change N value over here. Okay, so that is the concept. So since we are applying this formula, that's why in place of N, I have taken N by 2. Whether it is brake power or indicated power does not matter. If you are applying this formula, then in place of N, you have to write N by 2. Okay. Now, if you will solve this equation, when you will solve this equation, brake mean effective pressure value you will get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 2.1, yes, 2.1. If you will divide it by 10 to the power 5, so 2.1 megapascal something we will get. Yes, correct. So we will get something around 2.1 bar, or it is around. But here some other answer he has got. You check the answers, whether it is correct or not. Number of cylinders are 4. Is it written here? 4 cylinder. Okay, okay. Here we have 4 cylinder. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number of cylinders are 4. Yes, correct. Exactly. Here number of cylinders are 4. Why number of cylinders are 4? Okay. So here you see how many cylinders we are getting here. This is for cylinder 1. This is for second cylinder, this is for third cylinder, and this is for fourth cylinder. So 4 cylinders we have. Okay, so here number of cylinder equal to 4. So this mistake I have done. So N value is not 1, N value is 4. Okay, so if you will solve this equation now, so the answer becomes 526. Yes, 526, right? Something like that we'll get. It will be 526,581.0028 Newton per meter square, or equal to 5.265 bar. Okay. Like this one answer we will get. Okay, here number of cylinder is 4. Why 4 cylinder? Let me tell you once again. Because you can see 4 brake powers are given. This is 1 brake power, this is second brake power, this is third brake power, this is fourth brake power. This is brake power of cylinder 1, brake power of cylinder 2, brake power of cylinder 3, brake power of cylinder 4. Similarly, here also this is indicated power for cylinder 1, indicated power for cylinder 2, for cylinder 3, and cylinder 4. So that's why we have 4 number of cylinders. So this N value is 4. You solve this accordingly and we will get the answer. Okay. So there is a probability of doing mistakes. See, I have also done the mistake. Initially, I have taken n equal to 1, okay, but n equal to 4. Why? Because there are 4 cylinders. Okay, so in this way we can solve this question. Okay, in 2018 they have asked this question, right? Now, so these answers I will put in the group after this class. One more question I will show you. This question also I will put in the group. If you have time, if you can take some time for it from your busy schedule, try to solve this question. Let me show you the question. Okay, so 2016 question paper it is. So here I will show you the question, 1 minute. Yeah, question number 6B. We have not solved this question, but this is very simple question. Okay, so here what you have to calculate, 4 cylinders are there. Okay, petrol engine bore diameter is given, stroke length is given, compression ratio was given. The engine develops 25 kilowatt indicated power. Indicated power was given 25 kilowatt. Speed is given 2000 RPM. You have to calculate mean effective pressure. Okay, means indicated mean effective pressure and air standard efficiency. Okay, you know how to calculate indicated mean effective pressure. You have the formula to calculate air standard efficiency also. After that, also calculate the fuel consumption per hour, means mass flow rate of fuel, MF you have to calculate here. Okay, if the indicated thermal efficiency is 30%, indicated thermal efficiency is 30%, you know the formula of indicated thermal efficiency. By applying that formula, you calculate what is the mass flow rate of the fuel per hour, and calorific value was given 42 megajoules per kg. Okay, so this question is also there. Question number 6B. You try to solve this question. So I will put this question in the WhatsApp. Entire day you have. Okay, so try to solve this question. 2016 December. So now only I am putting it in the group. Okay, so I have put this message in the group. After the class, you have entire day. Try to solve question number 6B. Okay. So now we will switch over to our next topic. I think we have done enough problem from this. Okay, so now we will see some theoretical parts. So yesterday we have seen regarding Morse test. Okay, so yesterday we have discussed by using Morse test how to find out the frictional power as well as indicated power. Okay, so today what we are going to do, today we will calculate today we will see how to calculate the brake power. Okay, so you can see here, so our today's aim is we have to calculate the brake power. Okay, how to calculate the brake power, that we are going to discuss today. So our today's aim is we have to calculate brake power of the engine. Okay, so how to calculate the brake power of the engine? By using this dynamometer. By using this dynamometer, we can calculate the brake power of the engine. Okay. So what is a dynamometer? A dynamometer is a device which is used to measure the torque and rotational speed of the engine. Okay, so by using this dynamometer, we can measure the torque as well as the rotational speed of the engine. Okay, because what is the formula to calculate brake power? Brake power you can calculate by applying the formula 2 pi nt divided by 60,000. So to calculate brake power, you have to calculate speed of the engine and torque of the engine. Okay, if these two things you can calculate, then you can calculate the brake power of the engine. So this dynamometer is used to calculate these two things. What to calculate? To calculate the torque and to calculate rotational speed. Rotational speed means this n value. Okay, rotational speed is nothing but this n, and torque is nothing but capital T. So dynamometer is a device. So this is nothing but a dynamometer. This diagram that you are watching here, this is a dynamometer. In our lab also, this dynamometer is there. Okay, so it is a device which is used to measure the torque and rotational speed of the engine. Okay, so this in this dynamometer, this is the rotating part. Okay, this shaft you are watching, this shaft will connect with the crankshaft of the engine. This shaft will be connected with the engine. Okay, when the engine will rotate, okay, since this shaft is connected with the engine shaft, this shaft will also rotate. And from here we can calculate the rotational speed. Okay, when we can calculate the torque also. Okay, so there are two types of dynamometer. First one is absorption dynamometer and second one is transmission type dynamometer. From dynamometer you will get theoretical question. 5 marks theoretical question you will get from this topic. Okay, so what do you mean by dynamometer? What are the classifications of dynamometer? Like that, some question they will ask. So two types of dynamometer we have: absorption type dynamometer and transmission type dynamometer. But mostly in the exam they are asking regarding this absorption type dynamometer. Okay, so in today's class we will discuss regarding this absorption dynamometer. All right. Okay, so in absorption type dynamometer, okay, so here what to do? These dynamometers are connected with engine output shaft. Okay, so this dynamometer is directly connected with engine output shaft. They absorb the engine power by frictional resistance. Okay, so there will be, when this shaft will rotate, actually the output shaft of this dynamometer is connected with engine shaft. When the engine shaft will rotate, this output shaft of the dynamometer will also proportionally rotate. Okay, and when it will rotate, there will be some friction in between the shaft and bearing. And if friction is there, then this frictional resistance will also comes into picture. Okay, so this dynamometer will absorb this frictional resistance value. It will capture the frictional resistance value. And from this frictional resistance, it will measure the power of the engine. This is the principle behind it. Okay, so this it will, that's why the name is absorption type dynamometer. It will observe the frictional resistance between the shaft and the bearing. And from this frictional resistance, it will measure the engine power of the engine. Okay, so that's why it is absorption type dynamometer. It is 3 types. It has 3 categories. First one, Prony brake dynamometer. Second one, rope brake dynamometer. And third one is hydraulic dynamometer. Okay, so out of these 3 types, in our college, in our lab, we have this one, rope brake dynamometer. So this is most popularly used in the industry. Okay, so in our college, we have this rope brake dynamometer. When you will come to college, I will show you the construction of this rope brake dynamometer. It is there in our college. Okay, but if you will come to the classification, this absorption type dynamometer is 3 types. One is Prony brake, rope brake, and hydraulic dynamometer. 3 types of dynamometer we are having. Right. Now, second category is transmission type dynamometer. So this is, you can see, this is an example of transmission type dynamometer. In automotive, in some automation industry, CNC labs, okay, in those things they are using this transmission type dynamometer. The power developed here, what happens? The power developed by the main engine is transmitted through the dynamometer to some other machines where the power is suitably utilized or measured. So what happened in this dynamometer? Directly it will not measure the engine power. Okay, so what happened? This one end of this dynamometer is connected with the main engine cylinder, and other end is connected with some other machines. So what will happen? First, this dynamometer will absorb the power from the main cylinder, then it will transmit the same power to some other machine, and from that other machine here we can be able to measure the power developed by the engine. Since this dynamometer is transmitting the power from the main engine cylinder to some other machine, that's why this type of dynamometer is called transmission type dynamometer. Okay, that's why the name is transmission type dynamometer, because it will transmit the power from the main engine cylinder to some other machines. Okay, and this transmission dynamometer is also 3 types. If you can see here, this transmission dynamometer is also 3 types. Okay, so what are they? First one is belt transmission dynamometer, epicyclic trend dynamometer, and torsion dynamometer. These 3 types of dynamometers are there. Okay, so what we have seen so far, we have seen what do you mean by dynamometer. Okay, so we have discussed what do you mean by dynamometer, what are the different types of dynamometer. Okay, so these 2 marks or 3 marks question they will ask regarding this. And absorption type dynamometer is 3 types. This diagram, whatever the diagram you are seeing, this is a absorption type dynamometer. And the last one is transmission type dynamometer. In transmission type dynamometer, these are the 3 category of transmission type dynamometer. Okay. So we will only discuss regarding this absorption type dynamometer. Okay, under this we have 3 categories. You can see first one is rope brake dynamometer, Prony brake dynamometer. Second one, rope brake. Third one, hydraulic. So in exam, what they will do, they will ask some theoretical question, explain the working principle of Prony brake dynamometer, 5 marks. Or they will ask, explain the working principle of rope brake dynamometer, explain the working principle of hydraulic dynamometer, but mostly they will ask this rope brake or Prony brake. First 2 are most important. Okay, so regarding these 3 parts we are going to discuss now: rope brake dynamometer, Prony brake dynamometer, rope brake dynamometer, and hydraulic dynamometer. Okay, so if we'll start it, first one is Prony brake. Okay, this is the first point. It is a simplest form of absorption type dynamometer is Prony brake dynamometer. It is a category of Prony brake dynamometer. It is a category of absorption type dynamometer. Second point, it works on the principle of converting power into heat by dry friction. Okay, so whatever the power will generate from the engine cylinder, this dynamometer will convert the power of the engine into heat. Okay, and it will measure the heat. And how the power will be converted to heat? By friction. Okay, you know whenever this friction is there, okay, heat energy will generate. And how this friction will come? Whenever the shaft, this is the shaft or the flywheel of the dynamometer, when it will rotate, there will be a friction between this shaft and this block. So due to this friction, whatever the power will be there, that power of the engine will be converted to heat energy. Because this shaft is connected with engine cylinder. When the engine will rotate, that engine power will rotate this shaft or this flywheel. And when this flywheel will rotate, there will be a friction between this flywheel and this block. Okay, at this surface, at this interface, there will be friction. So whatever the power will be there in this shaft, that power will be converted to heat energy due to this friction. Okay, and we have to measure this heat energy, and hence we can calculate the power of the main engine. Again, you will take class. 5-10 minutes. 4th hour you will take.
That means at 12 hour I have class. Not for second first year.
For first year, here from here you will take.
Because
At what time class is there?
12 o'clock.
Okay, in 2-3 minutes I'll come. Okay. So in Prony brake dynamometer, it is based upon the principle of converting the power into heat by dry friction. Okay, clear? Now come to the construction. It consists of 2 wooden blocks. Where are the wooden blocks? I will show you. Okay, so this is the wooden block. This is nothing but wooden block. This is one wooden block. This is wooden block 1, and here the the bottom side. This is one more wooden block. It is made up of wood. Okay, so 2 wooden blocks are there. 2 wooden blocks are there, which are fixed together on a revolving flywheel. Which is flywheel? This circular part. This is the flywheel. This flywheel will connect to the output shaft of the engine. When the output shaft of the engine will rotate, this flywheel also rotate. Okay, and these wooden blocks are connected with this flywheel. This flywheel is attached with the engine, whose power is to be measured. Okay, this flywheel is connected with the main engine cylinder. Okay, from this flywheel only we can measure the power of the engine. 4th point, the upper wooden block has a long lever. Okay, so upper wooden block means this one. So this is the lever. This is nothing but the lever. We can call it as lever or we can call it as arm. Okay, this upper wooden block has a long lever. You can see this lever, one long lever is there. Attached to, the upper wooden block has a long lever, not L-I-V-E-R, the spelling is wrong. Okay, this is not the correct spelling, it is L-E-V-E-R. Okay, the upper wooden block has a long lever attached to it, which carries a weight W at its outer end. So you can see this is the long lever, the outer end. This is the inside end, this is the outside end. Okay, so what it is telling in point number 4? In point number 4, it is telling that the upper wooden block contains a long lever. Here one lever is there, this pipe you can see. Okay, and this lever at the outside end, it will carry a weight, capital W over here. The weight W is adjusted in such a way that for desired speed of the engine, the lever remains in horizontal position. This is nothing but horizontal position. When the engine speed will be fast, the lever will goes up. When the engine speed is slow, the lever will goes down. Okay, but in order to avoid this thing, we have to adjust the weight in such a way that when this lever is going up, we have to add here some weight. so that it will maintain in a horizontal position. When this is going down, when this lever is going down, we have to remove some weight here so that it will be in horizontal position. Okay, so what happens from here? So here this flywheel will rotate. From this flywheel, by use of tachometer, we can calculate the speed, that is capital A. And here, what is W? What is this weight? Weight is nothing but m into g, mass into acceleration. This mass we will know. If we multiply the g, we will get the weight in newtons. And what is the radius? From this point to this point. This is the radius. Okay, so from this point to this point. Okay, this radius we can calculate by using a scale or tape. So radius we got, the force applied we got. So what is force into radius? We can calculate torque from here. Okay, because torque is nothing but force into capital R. What is capital R? Distance from this point to this point. This is capital R. But how to calculate force? This m into g. This weight is nothing but force. Mass into acceleration due to gravity. This is the force. So force into radius, we will get the torque. From here, we got the speed n. From here, we got the torque T. So what is brake power then? Brake power equal to 2 pi nt divided by 60,000. Okay. So in this way, by using this Prony brake dynamometer, we can calculate the brake power. Okay. So this is the construction and the working principle of Prony brake dynamometer. Okay. In the next slide. Okay. So here by this method we have to calculate the brake power. Brake power equal to 2 pi nt by 60,000, where n is speed of the engine and t is torque, which is nothing but force into radius, drum radius. Okay. So all these things we have this formula already you know, and this is the method how we have got this formula. From here, from this flywheel, we get the speed or n by using tachometer, and from here we got the load or force, and this distance is capital R. Okay, so from here we got the torque. That's why this is called torque R. This is called a lever or torque R. Okay, and by multiplying this speed with this torque, we will get the brake power in this formula. Okay, that is all about Prony brake dynamometer. Regarding rope brake dynamometer, tomorrow we will discuss. Okay, so that's all about for today's class. These notes and the problem that we have discussed earlier, I will put in the group. Go through it. Okay, and start some preparation from now only. You have very less time for the final exam. Tomorrow or in the once again we will meet in the next week. Be safe. Have a good day.